Hi, this is Ludwig Kietzmann, editor-in-chief of Joystiq.com. I'm with Richard Mitchell today, and we're looking at Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, I got a chance to play a little bit of Mario Kart last month. This is the brand new Mario Kart 8. It's the first high-def Mario Kart game, which this seems to be like a pattern with Nintendo games that are coming out on the Wii U. You realize that they haven't been HD before, and they are now, and it's like, whoa.
Well, you used to see a vague pixelated blue blob coming at you in the distance, and now, thanks to the power of high definition, you can tell that it's a blue shell.
That's right, and yes, the blue shell is back.
So, what do you think is the appeal of Mario Kart right now? Does it feel like a real racing game yet, or is it still a very arcadey, playful kind of game?
It's definitely very arcadey. In fact, with the boost in visuals, it felt like I was actually playing an arcade racing game. And so you're still going to run into the power-ups that will knock people out of first place, or you'll think that you're doing really well and you'll just get bumped down 3 or 4 spots. So I think the appeal is definitely still the arcade sort of combat element. It's not the racing per se. Now the tracks are still a lot of fun, and they do have shortcuts and secrets, and people are going to have fun sussing those out. But, you know, if you're looking for a serious racer, what are you doing? It's Mario Kart.
Right. The reason I ask is because people who do enjoy racing games, traditional ones, they often find other things that appeal to them, like, you know, focusing on the track and driving well. And I feel like those elements are still reasonably well represented in Mario Kart, even if it's very cartoonish. But you do have to account for gravity changing in this one.
Yeah, gravity changing is the big ticket item in Mario Kart 8, where sometimes you'll be racing along on the walls or the ceilings, and you just go over a certain area of the track and your gravity automatically reorients itself. What makes this interesting is some tracks, they have certain sections that have different gravity right alongside sections that have normal gravity. So for instance, on Toad's Turnpike, which is a retro track from N64, they added the ability to go up onto the walls. And this actually is a pretty good way to go because you get a lot more speed because you don't have to weave in and out of cars. You can just kind of slide along the walls and hit ramps and jumps. And so it really does add an interesting new dynamic to Mario Kart.
Now, when I see all these topsy-turvy tracks, I'm reminded of F-Zero GX. And I'm not even saying that just because I want to sneak in some footage of that awesome game into this video preview. Do you think there's some connective tissue there? Do you think there's some resemblance or feel to that fast-paced, anything-goes mentality?
It is very interesting. I mean, the dynamic of sliding around on the walls and the ceilings is very different from what we're used to in Mario Kart. And there's actually another mechanic that they introduced there. When you're in these, let's call them 0G settings, bumping into the other karts, the other racers, actually gives you a speed boost.
Okay, but I want to hear about the infuriating items that litter the track.
You'll definitely see a lot of your old favorites like the Turbo Mushroom. You can pick up Fire Flowers to throw fireballs. Some of the new items that you'll see include the Boomerang, which you'll recognize from Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario 3D World. You can actually throw it 3 times, so you have 3 opportunities to take someone out, and it's actually really funny if you can hit the same person 3 times. The Boomerang can hit things on the way out and the way back, which makes it an interesting power-up. They also have the Piranha Plant, which attaches to the front of your cart and periodically just stretches out in front of you to chomp anything that's in front of you. So you can obviously chomp other racers, you can eat the banana peels that are littering the track, and every time the Piranha Plant stretches out in front of you, it gives you just a little bitty speed boost, which is pretty interesting.
I also noticed that the Koopa Kids are represented for the first time in a Mario Kart game.
That's right. You get to play as basically every Koopa Kid there's ever been. Like in other Mario Kart games, basically what you're getting when you choose a character is just a weight. So you have the larger characters and you have the smaller characters, which affect the way that you handle, how much sort of pushing power you have if you bump into another racer. One of the other things that you'll spend a lot of time doing is actually customizing your karts. You have lots of different kinds of karts, including things like motorcycles, you have traditional karts, you have great big kind of monster trucks, you have sort of F1 style rocket racers, and these are all things that you unlock. You unlock these different chassis that any character can use, and then you can customize them even further with different kinds of wheels, different kinds of gliding attachments, because you will have gliding sections. And each one of these different attachments has different properties. My favorite were these little bitty tiny wheels that looked like they belonged on a skateboard. They give you some really good handling, but maybe they don't give you as much stability as some of the other options.
Now, are there any Wii U specific features? Because the most recent game that Nintendo sent out, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, did not use anything. And I'm wondering if that's the same with Mario Kart 8.
Well, you can use the gamepad's tilt controls to steer. You can also use a Wii remote to do that, or you can slap the Wii remote into one of those plastic steering wheel accessories. You can use a Pro Controller, and of course you can use the gamepad just using the traditional controls. You can use a Wii remote and a nunchuck. I mean, you can use pretty much anything. I prefer the traditional controls. Tilting just did not feel right to me. I know that some of the other journalists I saw at the event thought it was just fine. As for other features, it does have online play, up to 12 players at once. Also, you will have highlight videos that you can watch, and that's fun.
You mentioned something about retro tracks earlier. What are those? Are those created by Retro Studios?
Yes, they're all Metroid and Donkey Kong themed. No, this is something that Mario Kart has done for a while, where they bring in tracks from the old Mario Kart games and put them in the new games. In this game in particular, I mean, they have some pretty serious changes because they have to account for like the new gravity and stuff like that. I mentioned Toad's Turnpike, which is actually from the N64 version, and they added the gravity on the walls so that you could go 0G and just race along the walls and avoid all of the traffic.
So how soon will I be able to thwomp my friends in Mario Kart 8?
Mario Kart 8 hits the Wii U on May 30th, so not too long.
Topsy-turvy racing, I'm reminded of F-Zero GX. Do you think that there is some connection? Let me try that again.